All right, everybody, this is Faiz Versey, real estate broker with the LePage team Realty, and welcome. If you'd like to find out what's happening in the Ottawa real estate market, please hang around. So, my friends, first of all, I should say that I am in the business of helping people to buy and sell property. I'm a real estate broker with the LePage team Realty, so please do look me up if you are thinking of making any purchase or you're thinking of selling a home. I'll be delighted to help you. Thank you. Let's take a look at what's happening in the Ottawa real estate market. Let's look at this graph on your screen right now. It's a busy graph, but it has some interesting information. So I don't know if you can see my cursor over here where it says year-to-date percentage change. So this first group here is looking at all properties in Ottawa. So pretty much the whole bunch of properties, meaning detached, meaning townhomes, semi-detached, condominiums, everything all together combined. We see a year-to-date change of plus 3.1%. So the property market has gone up from year to date. So from the beginning of the year up to October of 2025 by about 3.1%. That's what that means. Let's look further at the detached category, and that's gone up about 3.7%. Below that, we have the semi-detached category, and that's gone up about 3.6%. The attached, meaning row house. So semi-detached is two houses joined by a party wall. A row house could be several houses that are joined by party walls. And so the attached or row house group has gone, it's pretty much flat year to date. It's up about 0.7%, so that's pretty much flat. And the condo department has declined slightly, but let's just say it's flat year to date. By the way, these stats are put together by my company, LePage Team Realty, the company I work for, and the source is the Ottawa Real Estate Board. Okay, so that was a busy chart. Let's look at a few more charts that have some pictures, and that might be easier to follow. Let's see what I can point out to you there about what's happening in the Ottawa real estate market. Let's look at this first graph here, which is unit sales in Ottawa, all property types. So we're pretty much following a seasonal pattern where we sell more stuff in the summertime, then we have a bit of a lull in the summer, and we pick up again towards the fall season, which is where we are now in October of 2025. Is that correct? Yes, this red line is October of 2025. So pretty much no change there. We are following the long-term seasonal pattern, maybe a little bit different from the years of 2021 and 2022 and 2023 when we had the pandemic. Those were wonky years. I've explained those years in my other videos, which is now irrelevant. They're quite a long time ago, and they're not totally irrelevant. There are people who bought back then, who paid a lot for their properties because that was just the nature of the events that were happening in that time. And as long as they're going to hold it long term, that's fine. But there are people who paid a lot more above asking, 100,000, 200,000 above asking. And if they need to sell it now, some people do need to sell it now, unfortunately, for some whatever reason, and they are facing losses. Those people who are going to hold it long term will be fine. And I should also interject and throw in my usual disclaimer to this market update is that this is just a short-term explanation of things that are happening in the short term, but property is a long-term hold. So take this with a grain of salt. It's just for fun, just for entertainment. Really, you need to hold your property if you buy it for the long term, 10 years or more, and you should do just fine given what we know about the nature of property in Ottawa. And one more disclaimer, because I come across this all the time, is people tell me, oh, but this is happening in Toronto, that's happening in Vancouver. Those are separate markets. I don't know anything about them. I know Ottawa, but if you need information about any of the other locations in Canada, let me know. I'll see what I can find out for you. So this is Ottawa, what I'm talking about. We don't know what's happening in other markets, and even in Ottawa, so Ottawa is a market by itself, and even in Ottawa, there are sub-markets. I'll talk a bit more about that as I go forward, I think so, yes. So let's look at another graph, average sales price. Okay, this is interesting. So the average sales price in Ottawa has bumped up significantly in October. So again, we were following the seasonal pattern where prices they don't go up. Now, this is another misconception. Prices don't go up in the summer. But we get this pattern, which you can call it a one-humped camel, brrr, bang. Except this year you might have a two-humped camel because we've got this bump here out of the ordinary in October. So my friends, this is a very important chart. So first of all, let me explain that the prices, looking at this chart, some people tell me that, oh, it looks like prices go up in the summer, so I should buy in the winter. No, that's not the case. What is the reason behind this increase in prices generally during the summertime? Well, that's simply because more higher price properties such as waterfront properties, which the owners prefer to showcase them during the summer. So if it's a property that's worth 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, they'll prefer to showcase it in the summertime. So this is just showing the average of the properties that were available in that particular month. Otherwise, property in Ottawa is dependent upon the supply and demand. The supply and demand situation is very simple. In Ottawa, we have huge demand, low supply, and that's been the case as far as I can remember since back in 2017, and is going to remain that way in my view for a long time because we just have a shortage of housing. Some new zoning laws are coming up. Maybe I'll do a separate seminar on that one later, which should help to ease the housing crisis, housing shortage over time, but not today. So the thing simply is that in Ottawa, property is a 24/7 business. Properties are being sold and bought every day throughout the year. It's just that we have some changes in activity throughout the year. Let me go back to this one. Maybe this will explain it better. We have some changes in the number of units sold during the different seasons in the year. That's just seasonality for different reasons. People want to move at different times of year. Otherwise, the Ottawa market is 24/7, 365. Am I right? Let's take a look. 2025 in January, 605 units sold. October, 1,000. We look at the previous year. 580 units sold in December, 1,300 odd during the middle of the year, 572 in the beginning of the year. So yes, I'm absolutely correct. And so the Ottawa market never sleeps. It's 24/7. And right now we are going towards the end of the year, but we are busy. Well, at least I'm busy. I don't know about the other folks out there. So my friends, this is what's happening in the average sales price. Now this word is very key. This is average. So let me describe this a little bit more. Yes, now is a good time. So average means it's an average of all the properties in Ottawa. However, Ottawa has sub-markets. Some markets are doing poorly. Some markets are doing great. Some markets are hot. And the only way you'll find out the property that you are interested to purchase, so this is for both buyers and sellers. So the property that you're interested to purchase or sell, the only way that you will know what is the economy around your particular property, because that is an economy in itself, is that you need to contact a real estate agent or broker. So, and only we will know because we can get into the fine granularity of what's happening in respect of your property. Now, by the way, one comment I made there is you need to contact a real estate agent or broker. There's a difference there. Not many people know this, so let me explain this. Real estate agent is an entry-level position, and then people usually sometimes they just run with that. But brokers require additional training. So do keep that in mind whenever you're looking to choose a real estate professional to work with. You want to work with an agent or do you want to work with a broker? The choice is yours, and that's the difference. Let's see what else I can tell you about what's happening in the Ottawa real estate market. Okay, that's not terribly interesting. Let's go to this one. I think this one's quite interesting. Active inventory. Yeah, let's look at this. Maybe not this one either. Let's look at this one. This one's interesting. Months of inventory. So I'm going to put some explanation into this. So what happens here is why this months of inventory is important for us to analyze as real estate agents and brokers is that if this number in Ottawa, if this number is less than 4 months, we are in a seller's market. I'm going to tell you what that means. And then if we are in the middle, in the range of 4 to 6 months, we're in a buyer's market. If we are above 6 months, we're in a seller's market. We temporarily dipped in, am I looking, the 2025 is the red colors. So we temporarily dipped into the buyer's market, but mostly we have been in a seller's market in Ottawa, and we still are. So what does this mean? What is a seller's market? A seller's market means is that the choice for the buyer in terms of properties is fewer. The seller has more price momentum that he can utilize. So buyers will need to be cautious about when they're looking for a property. There's not too much to choose from. If you're in competition with others, you'll have to compete with others. Or if you're early in the game, as I always say, always have been an offer, but if the earlier you are, the better, because maybe there may be some room for negotiation. But in a seller's market, that is difficult. Again, it depends on market by market in Ottawa, property by property in Ottawa, and all the surrounding areas around Ottawa. It's pretty much the same story. What is a buyer's market? Well, there are more properties available for sale, and so the buyer has more choices. The seller will not have that much pricing momentum, and so there may be opportunity for negotiations depending on the situation. In a buyer's market, now that's when there are quite a few properties on the market. The seller doesn't have that much price momentum. Buyers have the time to choose a property, time to negotiate. That's great. I haven't seen a buyer's market since 2017, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. We are not even in a balanced market. We are in a seller's market. So that's what all of that means. I hope you found that of interest and I hope it helped you. My friends, that pretty much brings me, let me see, is there anything else? Yeah, that's it. So that's the last slide. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope you found it of interest. My friends, again, I'm a real estate broker in Ottawa. I will be delighted to help you to purchase or to sell. If you have any needs in that regard, or you know somebody who has needs in that regard, look me up. This is not a minor deal. Purchasing a property is hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. You need the best people that can help you, competent people who have knowledge and experience and are going to give you the service throughout the whole process. So delighted to help you. If you have any needs in that area, my friends, if you have any questions, put them in the notes below wherever you are seeing this video. I'd be delighted to answer as many as I can, or contact me directly. My telephone number is area code 343-998. Let me try that again. 343-998-8370. I work for LePage Team Realty in Ottawa. Lovely speaking with you. I'll speak with you again soon. And until then, take care. Bye-bye.